The Eagles vs. Cowboys rivalry is arguably the best rivalry in the NFL, and one of the best players in this rivalry matchup seems to be caught in the middle of it, and that is Micah Parsons, as despite being the Cowboys' best player, it seems he has a special place in his heart for the city of Philadelphia, their sports teams, and their athletes. And despite him playing for the Eagles' biggest rival, there's growing speculation that he could secretly want to be a Philadelphia Eagle. So in this video, we're going to look at everything that hints at the possibility of Micah Parsons wanting to be in Philly, and ask how likely it is that this could happen at some point in the future. But before we do that, make sure you go down and subscribe to this channel for more consistent Philadelphia Eagles content coming throughout this entire offseason. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop a like on this video if you do enjoy. Now with all that being said, let's get into this video. At this point, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that there's at least a small part of Micah Parsons that would like the opportunity to play in Philadelphia for the Eagles at some point in his career. I don't care what anybody says. You can't tell me that if Micah Parsons got the opportunity to play for the Eagles, he wouldn't at least consider it and be excited about the potential opportunity. I mean, this whole thing about Micah Parsons going to the Eagles started out as a joke, but I think it's evolved into something that I think is at least worth talking about, because it seems like every chance he gets, Micah Parsons is fanning the flames and only adding to these rumors. So let's go back to where it all started. Back before the 2021 NFL draft, we obviously didn't know who the Eagles would select in the first round. They obviously had the 12th overall pick after trading back from number 6 overall with the Miami Dolphins, at least heading into the draft, and some people thought that they should take none other than Penn State linebacker Micah Parsons, although it did seem unlikely because Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles typically don't spend high draft capital on the linebacker position, and obviously that continued as in the 2021 NFL draft, we know what happened. The Eagles made a trade with the Dallas Cowboys to move up from number 12 to number 10 overall, where they took Alabama wide receiver Devontae Smith, and the Cowboys were able to get Micah Parsons at number 12 overall. Now, obviously, this trade has worked out very well for both sides. Devontae Smith has definitely panned out as a great selection for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's proven to be one of the best young wide receivers in the NFL today, and just one of the best wide receivers in general. He's got some great hands, one of the best route runners in the league. He was obviously great in their Super Bowl run this season, and Micah Parsons has become one of the best edge rushers in the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys over his 2-year career so far. He obviously won Defensive Rookie of the Year back in the 2021 NFL season, and in this past season, he was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and at one point, people thought he was the favorite to win the award. But the interesting thing about Parsons being drafted by the Cowboys is that he grew up in Pennsylvania. He actually grew up just 2 hours outside of the city of Philadelphia in the state's capital, Harrisburg. But the whole weird thing about this and the fact that he grew up in PA was that he wasn't an Eagles fan at all, at least so he said. He'd actually kind of been sort of campaigning to be drafted by the Cowboys the year prior, and his parents were also Cowboys fans. So when they did draft him, he appeared to be very excited and ready for the opportunity. So Parsons very publicly made it clear that he had absolutely no love for the Eagles. Now, he could have just been saying this to appease the Cowboys fans. Maybe he actually meant it. I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows, to be honest. But no matter the case, he was headed to Dallas. And then obviously he went on to have a very successful 2 years so far with the Cowboys. But slowly but surely, over the past couple months, we've started to get all these hints, these little signs that Micah Parsons low-key wants to be an Eagle. And this all started back in November of 2022 when the Philadelphia Phillies were in the World Series versus the Houston Astros. The series was tied at 1-1, and it was headed back to Philadelphia for Game 3, and Micah Parsons himself was in attendance. And after the Philadelphia Phillies went on to win that game 7-0 and take a 2-1 series lead on the Astros, Micah Parsons took to Instagram to celebrate his hometown team's win, posting pictures of him supporting the Phillies in Phillies gear and alongside some other Philly sports legends. Now, Eagles All-Pro right tackle Lane Johnson responded to this post with the eye emoji, and then Parsons responded back to him saying, LOL, just some home support. But still, definitely was interesting and raised some eyebrows, and people started talking on social media about it. And this is kind of where the Micah Parsons to Philly jokes all started, but they definitely did not stop there, as Micah Parsons has openly admitted how much he respects Lane Johnson, and it seems that they've developed a friendship over the course of Micah Parsons' short NFL career. And of course, Parsons thinks Lane Johnson's a phenomenal player. Obviously, Lane tends to win their head-to-head matchups and doesn't really allow Parsons to take over the games when they do play. And Parsons had some really interesting comments aimed at Lane Johnson before the Eagles Super Bowl matchup with the Chiefs, showing his support for Lane and, shocker, the Philadelphia Eagles, saying, quote, "Love you, big bro, keep going, not many like you, definitely not playing like you healthy with a torn groin, go win a bowl for our division." And these comments definitely raised some eyebrows. I mean, why would the best player for the Dallas Cowboys be rooting for the hated rival Philadelphia Eagles in the biggest game of the year? Why would he want their rival to become Super Bowl champions? I mean, this one definitely pissed off Cowboys fans for sure. There's no question about that. And the jokes that Micah Parsons wanted to come to the Eagles only got louder from there. But who knows, maybe he was just rooting for his friend Lane Johnson, and it's nothing more than that, but definitely still interesting again. And now we fast forward a few months to the 2023 NFL Draft, where Micah Parsons made an appearance on Bleacher Report's live draft show for the first round with Adam Lefkoe and none other than Eagles star wide receiver A.J. Brown. And Parsons' reactions to the Eagles draft picks in the first round of Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith were just absolutely priceless. I mean, he said he was sick to his stomach when the Eagles drafted Jalen Carter.
I'm just so sick to my stomach right now. I can't believe that many teams passed up on me.
I would definitely say, Micah, I know you just be a Philadelphia Eagle at this point. I know you want to be a part of this great organization, man. Come on. The defense is crazy right now.
And then the value of it. Hargrave, who just got $85 million. And now you're gonna pay someone for 20.
Just come on over.
How are we talking for sure?
How he has a number.
The value of that pick is crazy. You let Javon Hargrave, a 10-plex sack, D tackle, go. He gets signed for 85, and you get the value of 20. I mean, that's an A+ pick.
And in this clip, obviously, he's just praising the Eagles and Howie Roseman and what they were able to do in selecting Carter. And even A.J. Brown said, at this point, Micah, you should just come to the Eagles. And his praise for the Eagles only continued when they took Nolan Smith at number 30 overall.
I mean, I love Nolan. Like, I recruited Nolan to Penn State. Like, I was his host. Like, Nolan's my guy. His ceiling is high. I think for where he's gone, like, you see that production, like what we're talking about, for where he's gone, this is a great pick. And production-wise, it definitely, I think he has a chance to fly through the roof.
Right.
Being in a system where it's going to be more towards him, a 5-man front with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Hassan, and Josh.
And Micah Parsons.
Fletcher Cox.
I mean, they just got Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham 2.0, right? Like, they just reloaded there.
Yeah, I mean,
My Lord.
I mean, their future's set.
He needs some tissue.
I think in this clip, even more than the last one, he just went on and on and on about how good this draft was for the Eagles, and he pretty much praised everything they did. And he also said that he loves Nolan Smith and he loves what he can be, and he thinks he has an extremely high ceiling and he can be a really good player in this league. It just seemed like throughout this entire stream that Micah Parsons was envious of what the Eagles did during the course of this draft. And of course, from this point, the jokes of Micah Parsons wanting to go to the Eagles only got louder and louder, and of course, it doesn't stop there either. Because most recently, Micah Parsons was caught repping Philadelphia once again, and this is really what prompted me to make a video on this, because he was seen at the Philadelphia 76ers playoff Game 4 matchup versus the Boston Celtics, supporting the Sixers and wearing a Tyrese Maxey jersey. Now, first off, hats off to the 76ers. They get a big-time win over the Celtics in Game 4, evening the series at 2-2. They got the win in overtime. James Harden was crazy good, 42 points and the game-winning three.
Out to Harden for the three, got it!
Tell you what, I had about 8 heart attacks during the course of that game. I'm obviously a huge Sixer fan, and I'm super happy with the win, so hopefully they can close this out. But obviously, for the Eagles, the sighting of Micah Parsons was definitely on the minds of Eagles fans yesterday, and the jokes only got louder from this point. I mean, Twitter was going crazy. This is pretty much what everyone was talking about, saying how bad Micah Parsons wants to be a Philadelphia Eagle. Do you actually expect me to believe that Micah Parsons grew up in Pennsylvania, he was a big Phillies and Sixers fan, but he wasn't a fan of the Eagles? There is absolutely no shot that you can convince me that that's the case. There's definitely still a part of him that bleeds green. There's still some Philadelphia Eagles blood running through his veins. There is no doubt in my mind about that. And of course, at this point, the Micah Parsons to Philly rumors are more prevalent than they've ever been. Now look, at a certain point, I just gotta call it how it is. This video is stupid. It's stupid because obviously all these things don't actually mean that Micah Parsons is gonna request a trade or anything like that, let alone request a trade to the Eagles. And of course, it doesn't mean that he wants out of Dallas either. And even if he did request a trade to the Eagles, there is absolutely 0% chance, negative whatever you want to say, there is no shot of the Cowboys actually trading him to the Eagles. Why in the world would they trade their best player to their biggest rival? That makes absolutely no sense. But even so, I do think there are some good positive takeaways that you can look at if you're an Eagles fan. First of all, I definitely think that all this evidence shows that he has a love for the city of Philadelphia. He seems to have a good relationship with some of the players, notably Lane Johnson. And I definitely think that if he were given the opportunity to play for his hometown team, especially with the elite roster that they've built and the great culture that they've established, he would definitely be excited about that opportunity. So here's what I'm getting at. Here's really all I'm saying. Micah Parsons right now has 2 years left on his rookie contract, and he has a 5th-year option should the Cowboys decide to pick that up. He'll play out these remaining years on the Cowboys roster, and if he doesn't agree to an extension with the Cowboys in that time, and he somehow gets to unrestricted free agency, which honestly, if I'm being realistic, I don't think is going to happen, but let's just say it does, I think the Eagles could definitely be one of the favorites to land him at that point, as long as they can afford to pay him, which obviously we don't know how that's going to look. We don't know what the salary cap situation is going to look like in 2 or 3 years whenever that were to happen. Even if it does happen, I would assume that the Cowboys reach an extension with him at some point, and we don't even have to think about this possibility. But then again, you never know. Things happen all the time in the NFL, and there's definitely a chance that he reaches unrestricted free agency, although again, I do think it's unlikely. And I really do think the Eagles would be a potential landing spot for him should that happen. And I mean, the thought of adding Micah Parsons to this elite and now pretty young pass rush with, Jordan Davis, you got Hassan Reddick, you got Josh Sweat, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. If you were to add Micah Parsons to that, there's absolutely nobody stopping the Eagles from getting to the quarterback, and I just absolutely had to talk about it with all these rumors flying around. And of course, at this point, I've learned that I can't put anything past Howie Roseman. He's been able to work some miracles in the past, and who knows? Maybe he finds a way to get Micah Parsons if he hits free agency in a couple seasons. And let's just say that were to happen, that would be absolutely hilarious. I mean, that would ruin the Dallas Cowboys. That would give Eagles fans unlimited ammo to troll them. That would be the ultimate betrayal for Cowboys fans from Micah Parsons. It would just be so funny, and I would absolutely love to see that myself as an Eagles fan. Now, like I said, I do think the chances of this happening are very low, but you never really know, and I guess we'll see in a couple seasons whether he signs an extension or not with the Cowboys, and whether the Eagles have an opportunity to pursue him in free agency. But that is going to be pretty much all I got for this video, guys. I know it was a weird one. I mean, we're in the real part of the NFL offseason right now, where we're post-draft, we're post pretty much all the craziness of free agency, and stuff like this is going to be the big headlines from now on, and I think I'm okay with that because talking about this sort of stuff is pretty fun. So, I mean, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What % chance do you give the Eagles of even having an opportunity to pursue Micah Parsons in free agency in a couple years? If he even gets to that point, I don't know. Again, let me know down in the comments. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like on it and subscribe so you don't miss others like it in the future. If you want to watch another video where I talk about everything that the Eagles did in the NFL draft, you can go watch it right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.